Hi, this is Chris Rabb with Free Speech TV here in Washington, D.C. at the Take Back the American Dream Conference. Welcome. I'm sitting next to the National Campaign Director for MoveOn.org. This is Garlin Gilchrist II. Welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Good to be here.
So why are you here?
Well, I'm here because Move On is really supportive of this whole American dream movement. People standing up across the country wanting to really take back and reclaim the dream that's ours. Take it back, make rich people pay their fair share, get corporations out of power, and put people back in power.
You know, I just have to say this to the audience. Can you just put up your finger like this, please? When he pushes that down, millions of emails will be sent to you. This is the guy, all right? Now you have a face with those emails for the past many years. I had to do that. I'm sure there's millions of people who wanted to know who is the person behind the, yes. So.
Only the emails you read is one.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He only authors the emails you read. All the other ones, that's somebody else. Yeah, we're working on that. So tell me what Move On is doing these days, like specifically. What campaign? You're in charge of all the campaigns. What's the sexiest, hottest one you're working on right now?
Well, I mean, the biggest one we're focusing on is getting people out and involved in the American Dream movement. We got people in cities all across the country, big cities, small cities, rural towns and communities, people that are meeting together in living rooms, church basements, union halls, just really wanting to think about how they can really own what's happening in the economy. They realize that corporations have been taking control of everything for so long, and they're like tired of it, and they want to take it back. And so what we're trying to do a Move On is give them the tools to be able to do that.
Okay. And where does your passion come from? Like, this is not just a job for you, I know. Tell me a bit about how you came to this point in your life doing this type of work with Move On.
So I'm from Detroit, Chris, and so a lot of people know there's a lot of crazy things happening in Detroit right now. The economy was collapsed because we were dependent on a single industry. You had corrupt politics. You had all sorts of things going on. So I really come from this personally, being a member of a family whose family depended on the auto industry. We really needed to find a way that we can build a new future, reclaim our dream, the family dream that we had. My grandfather came up from Alabama, wanted to really provide a new life for his family. And so really I want to do that politically. I want to empower other people to have that same sort of dream, have that same sort of success. And that's why I'm here fighting every day for everyday people.
Well, I used the Google to look you up, and you're kind of a tech guy. You have an interesting background. Tell us a little bit about some of the things you've done.
So I used to work at Microsoft after I graduated from engineering school. And frankly, I found technology boring. I found helping with people a whole lot more exciting than that. So I started writing in my spare time as an engineer at Microsoft. I started blogging. I started talking about issues that were relevant to people of color and poor people all across the country. And that turned into a bigger passion than technology. So I thought, how can I use my technical expertise to help more people? And that's why I left Microsoft, came to a place like Move On, where now we use technology to empower communities all across the country.
Well, that's a very interesting tale, because in many respects, part of the American dream is getting that fancy corporate job, and yet you don't seem to miss Microsoft.
Well, the American dream is not about having a fancy corporate job. The American dream is about being able to provide for yourself and for your family in a way that's sustainable and that maintains your dignity. So if you want to work at a fancy corporation, or if you want to work at a nonprofit, you want to empower people, you want to take care of your sick family members, you should be able to do that in America. That's what the real dream is. That's a dream that's accessible to everyone. That's a dream that we all can agree is something that we should fight for.
And tell me why in this moment it's important for Move On and for others to be at this conference. What does this represent in this moment of time?
This represents the American Dream movement now actually being owned by the movement. There were certain organizations, certain people who had some ideas and tried to incubate some of those on a small scale, but this conference is really about giving it back to the movement from which it was born. It was born in Wisconsin, it was born in Ohio, it was born in Detroit, it's been born all across the country, and people, it's happening right now on Wall Street, and really now we're going to give the movement back to the people who created it in the first place. We had some ideas, we're doing things trying to support this movement and move on and rebuild the dream, but now everyone owns it for real, and now everyone's going to take it to the next level.
And where does, when I think of Move On, I think of media in the sense that it is a huge medium in and of itself. It doesn't seek advertisements, corporate advertisement. It doesn't seek to have a corporate media presence, and yet it grows and grows and grows. What does this mean in terms of how we embrace media to project a movement in the mind's eye of the public as it relates to technology and what people want to get accomplished?
Well, it grows because it's real. I mean, Move On is all about people communicating with one another. Email is a very personal medium. The people go on the internet to find things that they're already interested in. So that to the extent that a place like Move On or organization like Move On can tell a real story that connects with people, people of color, poor people, middle class people, people who are interested and have progressive values. So that's how we build movement. We build movement with person-to-person connection. 50 years ago, you built that by doing it by having a handshake. Today, you can build it by a handshake plus an email, a Facebook message, a tweet, all sorts of ways. And Move On is about taking advantage of everything that's available to us to build real movements.
I live in the bluest dot in the state of Pennsylvania, in a very green and diverse neighborhood in Philadelphia. And Move On volunteers swarmed the polling place in 2004, a couple years after I'd moved there. And the local Democratic machine was shocked and really pissed, quite frankly, that you guys were doing a much better job than the old machine was. You're more organized, you're more tech savvy, more diverse. What does 2012 look like for my polling place?
Well, I think there's going to continue to be a lot of energy. I mean, we are about coalescing energy. We're about finding and harnessing the energy that's already out there in the community. So I think your polling place is going to be just as vibrant as it was in 2004. That's how I got connected to the 2008 campaign, was through Move On organizing me and my wife to go organize in Seattle, where we lived at the time. I think you're going to have millions of people who are going to have that same story in 2012, just like they did in 2004, in 2008, and they're going to have it in 2016 and beyond.
Okay. Last question, and I've been wanting to know this for a while, is what is the origin of the name Move On? What is that?
So the origin is that Move On was started in 1998 to get people to move on from impeachment. Basically, let's stop the madness and move on to bigger and better and more important things.
Okay, I was thinking it's like move on from your laptop, like step away from the laptop.
The laptops are really big. They didn't move in 98 that much, though, right?
That's true. They're very heavy. That's true. Well, thank you very much, Garlin. I wish you continued success and all that Move On does, and enjoy the conference.
Thank you. Glad you're here.
Pleasure. I'm Chris Rabb with Free Speech TV. Thank you.